Hello there. This here is the Ravens, and it's not Ravens. It's the Gillette NFL Aftermath post-game NFL show for all the teams, but especially the damn Ravens. So let's start with the Ravens. They playing tonight, mother. If you don't watch that game, then you don't like football at all. So get out of here. This is where it's at, mother effer. All right, let's go over the games yesterday. First of all, there was a game, and they were playing, and it was played in Jacksonville. Actually, it was played in England. Very early in the morning, it was the New England Patriots against the Old England Patriots. No, the New Patriots was in Old England. And guess what? They played Jacksonville, and Jacksonville won 32-16 in a game where Drake I don't know who that is, passed for the Patriots 26 out of 37 for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. He must be the new quarterback. We all love the Drake. All right. And rushing, also Drake. The Drake. He's going to be the new star in England. He ran against the Jaguars. 3 runs for 18 yards, and that's pretty damn good. Not much running else for the Patriots. Receiving, their top receiver was Hunter Henry. And you got to fear the Hunter. All right. So, game was won by none other than the Weavers. Just joking, doing the weave. And the players was Jacksonville. Beat the Patriots 32-16. Jacksonville is really the home team all the time in England. That was next. And that makes the Patriots 1-6, very bad. And the Jaguars not too much better at 2-5. Okay, let's go to the next game. The next game was the Seattle Seahawks playing against a team called Atlanta Falcons. Both teams is what? Boring. But had to travel all the way over there to the East Coast at Atlanta. It was a game. It was a contest. And it was a dog. All right, the final score was the Seahawks won 34-14. And let us see what the statistics of that game were. Now, it wasn't a close game, but it was a game. Geno Smith for Seattle played respectively 18 out of 28 for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns, no intercepts. Quite good. And rushing for Seattle was Kenneth Walker. Not the first, the second, but the third. The third, Kenneth Walker. He had 14 carries for 69 yards, and that's a 4.93 average. And guess what? You run 3 times, you're going to get the first down with that man. All right. Receiving, Metcalf with the Seahawks had 4 catches. What about the damned Falcons, you say? Kirk Cousins, like I say, he's relatively good. Get it? Relative? Yeah, Cousins. All right, that's funny. All right, so he completed 24 out of 35 passes for 232 yards, 1 touchdown, but hey, here it is, Horn. 2 interceptions. That's bad. You're not going to win. And Michael Penix, that's his name. He's a real Michael Penix. He went 1 for 14. Well, if you are 14, you can be. If you're a penis, you can play all the time. If you 1-1 out of passing, you know what I'm saying? Rushing was Bijan Robinson, 21 carries, 103 yards for the Falcons. That's pretty damn good. And their top receiver was Kyle Pitts. That MFL caught 7, but it wasn't enough The turnovers, I assume, is why the Falcons got blowed out. All right, let's go to the next game. It was Tennessee Titans against your Buffalo Bills. Now, your Buffalo Bills suck donkey X's. And let's say that the score of that game, okay, let's see what that was. All right. Now, your Buffalo Bills was playing at home. 34-10. Another blowout. It wasn't a good game at all. I wonder how that game went. Let's check it out. The stats. Uh, that the man, Josh Allen, he's one of the quarterbacks in the league, I guess you'd have to say. He has not thrown an interception. He was 21 out of 33 for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he really threw the Titans, and that's good. How come last year's coach for the Titans is nowhere? That guy, what is Stramboli or whatever? He isn't on no damn teams. Rushing for the Bills was their top carry was Ray Davis. He was ahead of the Kings. Remember that? He had 41 yards. Then their top receiver was Keon Coleman. Nothing impressive though, but they won 34-10. And now let's go look at the Bills. The Bills had Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, and he was 25 out of 40, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Top rusher, 16 carries for Tony Pollard, 61 yards. Not bad. Why didn't they run more? You never know. Teams are dumb. All right, let's go look at Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati was the victory there. Well, they have Joe Burrow, who's really playing quite well up to his form this year. The Bengals have sort of rebounded. They're 3-4. They could be a force come down here this stretch. Cleveland 1-6. Another disastrous season for Cleveland. All right, 21-14 though. Not so bad. Cleveland scored 8 points in the fourth quarter to break it closer than it was. The stats in that game: Burrow, 15 out of 25, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. What a fantastic player he had turned out to be. Rushing, Chase. What you going to chase? You're going to chase Brown. 15 carries, 44 yards, 2.93 average. That was my grade point average. Jamar Chase had a rush, 1 for 11. Now in the receiving, T. Higgins had 4 catches, 82. Jamar Chase had 5 catches, 55. And Zach Moss had 3 catches, 33 yards. Interesting. Now, what about the damn Browns? What are they doing? Deshaun Watson was actually 15 out of 17 for 128 yards. He must have injured himself because Dorian Thompson Robinson came in and was 11 out of 24. Well, Deshaun Watson was doing pretty damn good, really, for him. And then Jameis Winston came in and 311 passes, 5 out of 17 for cleanup. No great rushers for the Browns. So Bengals win that divisional game. All right, let's go on. Another Houston at Green Bay. Green Bay Packers in the last second field goal. Their last drive was a 10-play drive, total time 1:44, and that was the end of the game. All right. And let us go to how that game broke down. very close game. The 5-2 now, the 5-2 Texans at the 5-2 now 5-2 Green Bay. And let's see the stats for that game. Well, okay, the stats for that game. Do they tell the story? Yes, they do. C.J. Stroud, 10 out of 21, 86 yards. Mo Mixon was the running back. I guess he was the force of the offense for the Houston. He was 25 carries, 115 yards, a 4.6 average. The top receivers was just Dalton Schultz for Houston. He made 29 yards catching. But let us go to see what the Packers did. Jordan Love was an incredible 24 of 33. And I don't believe it, but only 220 yards with 24 catches, 3 touchdowns. Uh-oh, but there's something wrong. 2 interceptions. Josh Jacobs for Green Bay had 12 catches for the 12 rushes for 76 yards. That's not bad. And their top receiver was Romeo Doubs. He had 94 yards receiving. Now, the scoring drives were, let's go to the fourth quarter and see what their scoring drives were. It was in the fourth quarter. Houston had a 14-play drive, ended up in a field goal. Used 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Decided that they're on 38. They moved to 41 yards and kicked a field goal by Fairbairn, 35-yard field goal. But the Packers returned the favor with a 10-play, 39-yard drive using 1:44 for a McManus 45-yard field goal, and that was the difference. Green Bay at home with Jordan Love wins. They're very good. Okay, Miami played New England. Miami played at Indianapolis. Now, this is a very big game for the Dolphins. Is making the Miami media going nuts so on this game because they're calling for everybody to get fired. Well, we don't do that on this show. We don't call for people's jobs on this show, but we know that McDaniel is having a very difficult time. You see, the final was 10-16. As Fez points out, the Dolphins were using essentially their fifth quarterback, starting quarterback, because of all the injuries and taking people off the taxi squad. But in this game, the Dolphins had a chance, and they had a 2-week get ready, and the Colts are one of the worst defenses in the league. So it's really no excuse for Miami. It's really poor, a low point for Miami. Tyler Huntley was 7 out of 13 for 87 yards. Tim Boyle was 8 out of 13 for 74 yards. The Dolphins could not manage the clock. They could not manage the game. They could not manage anything. They had a chance there at the end to go down and win. They were ahead of a lot. Their defense played pretty well. A-Chain was 15 carries for 77 yards. Mostert was 11 carries for 50 yards. Jalen Wright, 5 carries for 33 yards. So, of course, what do you do when you're running successfully? You stop running. Not really, but it happens all the time. And you score 10 points and you lose 16-10. They are now not a good team. They're 2-4. And the Colts now are 4-3. Anthony Richardson for the Colts was 10 out of 24 for 129 yards. Very mediocre. Nothing special there. Pittman had 3 receptions for 63 yards for the Colts. And Anthony Richardson actually led the Colts with rushing with 56 yards and 14 carries. Bad game, bad teams. All right. Now, here was a game I did not see, but it sounded spectacular. Came back to beat Minnesota in Minnesota. I understand it. It was so The Vikings were undefeated going into the game. The final score was 31-29. Detroit was victorious. Let's see. The scoring drops in the fourth quarter were such that the Vikings scored a field. Okay, so in the fourth quarter, the Vikings went on a 12-play drive that got them a field goal, a 7-play drive that got them a field goal, and a 3-play drive that got them a touchdown. But then, as time was expiring, as it's wont to do, Detroit kicked a field goal behind by 1. They kicked a field goal and they win the game at the final play in Minnesota. Divisional foe who was undefeated. The final score was 31-29. Sounds like an incredible game. Check the stats. Okay. So let us start with Jared Goff, I guess, for Detroit. Let's see. Jared Goff for the Detroits. He was 22 out of 25, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jamar Gibbs for Detroit had 15 carries and 116 yards. That's a 7.73 average, not bad. And the top receiver for Detroit was Amon-Ra St. Brown of the 5 wounds. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding. Okay. Pretty outstanding by Detroit. And Detroit wins on the road and leads the division now. Both teams tied at 5-1. The guy for the who was it? Mercury Morris is no longer alive to pop the champagne cork, so we do in absentia proxy. In absentia, we are popping the cork for the end of the undefeated Vikings. All right, now let's see what the Vikings did. Sam Darnold, actually not so bad, 22 out of 27, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 intercept. Not bad at all. And let's see what else. Rushing for the Vikings, Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown with a 6.64 average. Pretty good. And Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for the Vikes. Sound like a competitive game. Sound like the Vikings stayed in it, and it sounds pretty exciting. But it goes to the Lions. Okay. In the Eagles game, the Eagles are playing in New York, which isn't far to travel. The Eagles won 28-3. The Giants are not good. The Giants, it wasn't really so close. The Eagles dominated. The Eagles are now 4-2. The Giants are now 2-5. Let's look at the stats of that game there. For the Vikings, Jalen Hurts was 10 out of 14 for 114 yards for throwing and 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But the big star of the game for the Eagles, making his return to New York, Saquon Barkley. Not bad at all. 17 rushes, 176 yards, man. You hear that? 176 yards against the men in blue. Mm-hmm. His average was 10.35. That's outstanding. All right, so let's see what the Giants' stats were for the game. Couldn't have been good. Poor Daniel Jones, 14 out of 21, 99 yards, no touchdowns, no intercepts. Rushing, top rusher was Tyrone Tracy, Junior, only 23 yards. Malik Neighbors, he certainly does, had 4 receptions for 41 yards for the Giants, your New York Football Giants. And the final there was 28-3. Uh, Total domination by the Eagles. And the Eagles now are 4-2. How can they only have played 6 games? Wow, they must have had 2 byes so far. Very strange. I don't understand that. Let's see. I don't even know if we want to go over this game. The Raiders, the Los Angeles Rams, as was predicted on this program, defeated the Raiders, and the game was played in SoFi Stadium, or whatever it is. The final score was 20-15. Let's see who played and who didn't. It wasn't really all that. It was kind of a close game, actually. I saw this game on television. It was a close game. Gardner Minshew goes on tight. He was 15 out of 34 for the Raiders, 154. The fact that this guy is still a starting quarterback in the NFL shows you they need some starting quarterbacks in the NFL that are any good. 154 yards. Rushing was 23 carries, 92 yards by Alex and Madison. And their top receiver for the Raiders just win, baby. We don't. Was Brock Bowers. 10 catches. That's pretty damned good. Let's see how the old Rams are doing. Matthew Stafford, and Sam Bradford. You show a difference. Matthew Stafford was 14 out of 23 yards for 154 yards, 1 intercept. The top rushing for the Rams was Kyren Williams, 21 carries, 76 yards. And Tyler Johnson was their top receiver for 4 carries for 57 yards. Scoring drives in the fourth quarter. Were there any? Yes, there were. In the fourth quarter, the Raiders kicked 2 field goals. And that was it. Not enough. 20-15 final. All right. There were some more games. There was another game. Carolina, maybe the worst team in the league. They played Washington. Washington is putting together a pretty good team. A very good team. The quarterback is done quite well, but this is the weird thing. The quarterback was pulled in the game. The poor quarterback, the young quarterback, the rookie, I think he was pulled for Mario. Mario. Okay. And Andy Dalton and Bryce Young were playing for the quarterback for the Panthers. That's how sad things are. Poor Andy Dalton was 11 out of 16. That's not so bad. 93 yards, 2 interceptions. Chuba Hubbard had 52 yards rushing. Javon Sanders had 6 receiving. That's for the Panthers. 40-7 final. Let's see what the Commanders did. Okay, this is the weird thing. Jaden Daniels, the outstanding rookie for the Commanders, Washington. He was 2 out of 2 but he apparently, I guess he left the game. Must have been an injury. And Marcus Mariota came in and completed 18 out of 23 for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. So they seem to have things together there in best team they've had in a long time. They got rid of all the talk about addition by subtraction when they got rid of Daniel dumbass Snyder, and that's horrible racial slur of a name. All right, rushing. Brian Robinson for the Commanders was 12 rushes and 71 yards. And Jaden Daniels, before he had left, had 3 rushes for 50 yards. So that's pretty damn good. 40-7 total blowout. The Commanders did it. they're looking strong. Their coach is Dan Quinn, though, so I don't know. That could be bad. All right. Kansas City. They handled San Francisco. There was a lot of chipping in that game. There were more chips in there than there are at the chocolate chip factory. Fighting. People were mad in that game. It was supposed to be close, and it was a little closer than the score indicated, as the cliche so states. Let's go to the scoring drives. Okay, in the fourth quarter to see how close it was. Well, 14 play, 79-yard drive by the Chiefs, and they scored a touchdown, and then followed by a 13 play, 80-yard drive. They got them a touchdown, pulled the game out. San Francisco scored 11 play, 50-yard touchdown to make the game closer than it would seem, and the cosmetic. But let's look at the stats of this game. The Chiefs are now 6-0. They don't seem to be that impressive. I mean, they're impressive, but it doesn't seem that Mahomes is playing. He's not having great stats, but that's where we are. He's a great player. He comes up and he does what he has to. He does what he has to, and he does what probably nobody else can, and that's why they're 6-0, and they have an outstanding defense and a great coach, and they were coming off a bye. Mahomes in that game was 16 out of 27 for 154 yards, 2 intercepts. Rushing, Kareem Hunt had 78 yards on 22 carries. And receiving, Noah Gray had 66 yards, so the top receiver with 4 catches. Travis Kelce only had 17 yards and 4 catches. But let's see what the 49ers did. Statistically, Brock Purdy, 17 out of 32. Addition to big one, 3 interceptions. You're not going to win with 3 interceptions. Mason, the running back, had 14 carries for 58 yards. George Kittle had 6 receptions. Didn't seem to help. And let us see if we can get to the Pittsburgh game that was last night. Pittsburgh really scored there at the end. Pittsburgh says that they're trying to concretize their quarterback choice. They're still in doubt, but in these next couple of games, they think they can win these games, and they're going to come up with a choice for quarterback. It looks now like it's favoring Russell Wilson because he won last night against the Jets. So the Steelers, they were the victorious team in Pittsburgh last night. Russell Wilson was 16 of 29, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. The rushing, Najee Harris had 21 rushes for 102 yards. And George Pickens was the top receiver with 5 catches for 111 yards. Justin Fields appeared, was on the sidelines and not injured. They're just going back and forth with who's going to be their starter. Okay, let's go with the Jets. Rodgers, 24 out of 39 for 276 yards. To be fair, I did see one play where he threw a perfect pass into a wide open, running a perfect route. The ball bounced out of that receiver's hands, landed into a Steeler arms, who ran it back to the Pittsburgh 1-yard line. To the Packers 1-yard line. Okay, so those are the stats. So we don't know. The Jets have a lot of injuries. That's their excuse. It's a good excuse. Coaching changes. 2-5. This is what this channel was saying all along. Don't go, please go to sleep on the Jets. You don't have to worry about the damn Jets. All right, there's going to be 2 games tonight. The Chargers are going to be at Arizona tonight at 9. But at 8:15 is the game we care about. The Baltimore Ravens are taking on Tampa Bay. And I believe with watching that game last night, the Steelers game, the Ravens are going to come in pumped. It's the NFL and anything can happen. 5.5 points was the spread. Let's just hope that the Ravens come out with a road win because they don't want to fall to 4-3. They don't want to fall to 4-3. They're going to go to 5-2. All right. So that's going to be a good game. We'll have a reaction to that game. Now, were the NFL to have playoffs today? Okay, I'd use this joke. I'd ask, hey, who won the election? If the playoffs were held today, it would be very, very complicated. All right, waiting for the playoff picture to make it's not clear yet. All right. The top seed in the AFC right now are the Chiefs. They are 6-0. The second seed are the Texans, 5-2. The Steelers are 5-2. Seed Bills 5-2. Fourth seed. Fifth seed they haven't played yet are the Ravens at 4-2. Chargers are 3-2. They're the sixth team, and the Colts. The Colts, I tell you, are 4-3. All right. Now the NFC. What the hell is the playoff picture over there? I ask. The Lions probably are the best team. They're the top seed. The Commanders are playing great this year. They're 5-2. They're the second seed. The Buccaneers, who the Ravens play tonight, are the third seed. Fourth seed are the Seahawks. Geno Smith is actually playing pretty well. The fifth are the Vikings, which is weird. They were just undefeated. Now they're down to fifth seed. The sixth is the Packers. They have Jordan Love, who's great. And how we say the last team are the Bears. The Bears are still in it. They're 4-2, and they're the seventh seed. All right. On the bubble, don't know. Don't care at this point. That's all tonight. After the game, we will report the game. We might do a live watch party. We'll see how it goes. Okay, everybody. That is all. And we will see you next time on Late Night Baltimore, the greatest live stream news making sports reporting. Sure, if I just have one question for you, sir. Just this one. You said that you're the best live streaming, but sir, I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I mean, I could just be missing it something in detail. I'm very forgetful about this. It looked like some of your stuff was recorded, sir. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for that, sir. Thank you. I thank you for your time. Oh, by the way, did I mention to you my wife is a big fan of your work? Oh, she goes crazy with that stuff you do. Yeah. All right. All right. You have a good day, sir. That was my Columbo, and now my De Niro. Eh? Are you calling these games? You mother, are you calling these games? Do you think you can predict these games? I think you're trying to. Just a little bit. I think you were. I think you were trying to. Well, you thought the Giants lost? The Giants lost, huh? Well, you. Okay. Because if you think the Giants lost, then you are bigger. You can't really do that, man, without using words that YouTube does not like. All right, now, everybody. That's all we have. And we say, see you at the watch party.